We have looked at the kind of businesses you can invest in. So on the other hand, we are going to also look at the different categories of businesses that you should not invest your money into it. Because if you do, you may risk losing your money and your investment. The business that you are not in control of your own capital, you shouldn't invest in that kind of business. So you should be able to avoid any business that places the control of your capital in the hands of clients or customers, such as lending money to people or credit-based business. When you lend people your money, the people have your capital and your interest with them. If they don't pay you back, you lose your capital and you lose your interest. So you don't invest in a kind of business where all your capital will be in the hands of your client or your customers. So you could invest in a business like real estate. Invest in a business like the real estate, where even if the tenants don't pay your rent, your house is still intact, your capital is intact. You will lose only your interest or your profit. Another category of business is a business that is offered before payment. So avoid any business where services are rendered before receiving payment, because you have a problem of cash flow. For example, in the industry like hospitality, like people with beer parlors, where people come and drink and finish before they pay you, and by the time they finish drinking, some are drunk, they abuse you and go. And we know very well that majority of those who spend their time in the bar drinking, they are useless and have no hope. Some even come there without money, so they come and drink and abuse you and go without paying. So if you are providing a service without upfront payment, you can create a problem of cash flow, because when they collect your money and go, when they use your products or they consume your products and they don't pay, you will not be able to have the money. Some will promise to pay, but they will not come back, and so you lose your capital and you will lose your profit. So we must be able to consider businesses that require payment upfront, like subscription services, e-commerce platform, where you must pay before you receive your products. So with that, you have steady cash flow. Every product that goes out, you know that you are going to receive money for that product. That is why at the local level, most people, they write at their shop that payment before service, so that you don't collect their product and then you are telling them stories. So you must pay before they give you the products. Then another one is the business where you are inside the debt. So stay clear from business where you will be heavily indebted relative to your capital. Don't do excessive borrowing. Don't borrow more than your capital. Borrow relative to your capital. That is why if you want to borrow but in the bank is going to scrutinize what you want to do with the money, and they will give you the money only relative to your capital or to your own savings. They are not just going to give you because you need the money. But now if you are borrowing from somebody else, that strategy may not hold, and so they may just give you based on what you want, but it is very risky. So you should not borrow more than your savings or your capital. You must borrow relative to your savings or your capital. In that way, you will be outside the debt. That means if something go wrong with the business, you will still have some money to balance the one you borrowed, without which your business will go bankrupt. Then another kind of business you shouldn't go into is the kind of business that you are the one creating the demand. So you should not engage in businesses that require you to create demand from scratch. Instead, it's advisable that you respond to a demand. Look at the society, look at the environment. What are people in need of? Then you respond to it. What are people's demand? Then you respond to it with a product. You respond to it with a service. So you need to do market research so that you don't go and invent a product and you are looking for customers to buy the product. You are forcing the product into customers' throat. It will not work. So you must do the business that you are responding to the needs of the customers. In that way, you will not struggle to get customers, because you will see those who are in need of your product or your service everywhere. Wherever you go, you will see them, and they will look for you. Once they know that you have what they need, they will come for you. You will not be the one running after your customers. Also, avoid businesses that consistently operate with a negative cash flow. So that's why you need to understand the law of money. You need to understand how money is being managed. Budgeting, cash flow, expenses, and so on. Income. So you need to study and understand all these money languages. Negative cash flow means that expenses exceed revenue. That means you spend more than you are receiving, and that can lead to unsustainable operation over time, and in the long run your organization, your business will not be able to pay itself. It may not be able to pay workers, not be able to pay rents, and so on, and so you see the reason to close that business. A business model that does not generate positive cash flow can lead to financial distress. You will be stressed up, and most at times this comes because we do not have knowledge on how to manage money. So we spend the once we start seeing the money flowing, we spend the money anyhow, and before we know it, the money get finished, and we are wondering what to do. We have another category of business that we need to also avoid, what we call pyramid scheme. That means business that promise unrealistic return on investment, like the Ponzi scheme that people get themselves into. Any business proposal that is too good to be true is a risk. It may be a Ponzi scheme. Somebody cannot promise you that you bring 100,000 and every month he's giving you 50,000. How will he work the money? So if you engage into that, you are in trouble. You are heading for destruction. Then we also have what they call multi-level marketing. It's also similar to the pyramid scheme or the Ponzi scheme, where you concentrate in recruiting. They are recruiting people from one person to another, from one person to another, instead of selling products. They are recruiting people. If you bring these persons, they will collect this person's registration and pay you. If that person bring another person, they will also pay you, and you have bonus and so on. All those things doesn't last. So you have to run away from them. These are businesses you shouldn't invest in. Yet people put their money in it every day because they are looking for a shortcut to get rich. If you want to know how to get rich, you should ask a rich man. He will tell you how long it took him to get rich. It's not by going through Ponzi scheme that you can get rich. We should also avoid cheap knockoff products like counterfeit products or pirated products that we see in the market. You may find yourself into legal problems, and it also can damage the reputation of your company. Another kind of business to avoid is a business that the products that you sell is seasonal. For example, if your product can only be sold in a particular season, then that is not the best for that business. For example, Christmas decorations. They are sold only during Christmas festivals. So after that, nobody will enter your shop again. That is why most shops that they sell Christmas decorations, they only go and buy those things during Christmas and come and add to what they already have. At the end of the day, they just pack them and they continue with what they are selling. But if your main business is those seasonal products, then you are in trouble, because in the period that is out of that season, you will not be able to sell and you will not be able to sustain that business. And then also business with high competitive markets. So if you are entering oversaturated market without a unique value proposition, that means if you are entering a competitive market with your product must have something that it will stand out among the other existing products in the market, so that customers of those products will leave those products and start running after your product, without which you won't make it. So your product must be very unique, your service must be very unique, producing impact. For example, if in the area of smartphone market, you see that Apple and Samsung, they have dominated the market. So if you are coming with a new phone now, Tecno entered the market and is doing well. Why? Because Tecno entered with a particular feature that make it unique. Apple and Samsung, they used to have very weak battery. Then Tecno came in with very tough battery and tough phones and so on. That is why Tecno succeeded, because it came with something that is greater than those who have been existing. So it found its own place in the market. Then there are some businesses with very high operating cost. So if you don't have money or investors, you don't get into such areas of business. So you should go for the kind of business that what you have can start that business. Don't go in for businesses that are having a high operating cost, meanwhile you don't have the money to engage that business. If you want to do that, you find out that you just carry your money and go and hook it somewhere and everything bursts and you can't go forward and you can't come backward. So these are some of the areas you should not invest in. So all this is for you to understand. Know what is good and what is not good. Know where to invest and where not to invest. Know what to invest on and what not to invest on. So it's very important. If you have any question, write in the comment section. Thank you and see you in the next module.